did a video recently on Todibo saying that I felt that he now needs to be called into the side ahead of Mavropanos. It's kind of sparked a little bit of debate. Fair few agree, a few not so sure, and feel like, that there's obviously a situation going on with Todibo, and there's a reason why he's not playing. And it does get me thinking as well. Although obviously you want to give your views, like as we do, there's only so much obviously I know and and etc. We sort of know things a little bit from what's going on behind the scenes, they say, with XWH employee, etc. But ultimately, we're not in the room. We don't know the real reason why Todibo exactly isn't playing. And it kind of gets you thinking, doesn't it, that although we can get quite emotional when it comes to things like team selections and things like that, and why players are absent and why, like for instance, like the Fulham lineup, we see Antonio lead the line, you get frustrated. Why is that the case? Or Paqueta's on the bench. But the reality is we don't know the full story. We're only sort of seeing what we see, and then we can comment on it. That's only the best you can do. So that does get me thinking, actually, with Todibo, although that I want to see him start, and I still stand by that. I don't know really what's happened. Obviously, I'm not on the training ground, and I don't know whether he's going to need more time. He might be the fact he's just not fit enough. There's a few things there, but I still stand by my point. I think if he's fit and he's been working with the team, then I'd like to see this player starting. If he's not good enough, or there's a big problem there, then that's a totally different debate, isn't it? You sort of open up thinking, well, what's happened here then? But look, I'm not here to talk about that. As I say, I still stand by that comment. I still think that I would like to see Todibo start. I think that you look at how well he's done previously, and the fact that he's such a highly rated defender. He's come to West Ham, big money move. I want to see this player. I want to see what he's all about, and I think it's. And as I said, I feel like Mavropanos has just got too many errors in him, basically. But I want to move away from that a little bit, because I feel like with Summerville, it's a different story there, because we've seen a fair bit of Summerville now. He's not starting, but he's coming from the bench. And I've got to say, I don't know about yourselves, but I feel like he's been pretty impressive, actually, Summerville. I don't really think he's done a lot wrong in a West Ham shirt. He's always looked very dangerous. He looks a player that can make something happen. Do you know what I mean? Out of nowhere, he's one of those players that's just got the ability and the confidence to take on players, to make things happen, and to get bums off seats. Fans love that, and I think that's really important. I've just been really impressed with him, and I feel now, following on from what he has done so far in a West Ham shirt, he needs to be starting now. He needs to be considered a first-team player at this stage. Not to say, throughout, he's always, the first name on the team sheet. I'm not saying that, but I feel like he's earned it. I feel like he has shown enough for me. You look at the Fulham game, him coming on, Paqueta coming on at the second half. Look, we didn't smash them off the park. It wasn't an amazing change, but we were better. We did improve. Summerville looked bright. He looked very up for it. I mean, he took a bit of a nasty knock, a bit of a challenge, and I think that kind of knocked him slightly off in terms of his confidence or whatever, or maybe he was just carrying a bit of a knock the rest of the game. But overall, I thought that he made a real solid impact. Summerville, for me, it's like I'm sort of seeing him as the sort of upgrade on Benrahma, a player I think that's got the promise to be a really decent Premier League player. And as I've said, I think when you look at us at the moment with a team that's sort of lacking a little bit of confidence maybe altogether, that we're not clicking quite yet, which is understandable. I feel like you need players like him to say, just give me the ball, get the ball to him. He will make something happen. He will run at defenders. He will try and create things. I want to see that, more of that, especially when we are currently seeing Lopetegui opt to play Kudus on the left, which we've covered on this channel a fair bit now. It just isn't working. You know what I mean? It really is not working at all. And I think it needs to change. When we face Chelsea this weekend, I want to see Summerville starting now. I feel like he has done enough. He's obviously not far away from that, because he came on at half-time. Lopetegui recognised his error in terms of starting with Antonio and Souček, made the change at half-time, but Summerville straight on, straight from the break. So it kind of indicates that he's close to starting. I don't want us to keep repeating the same errors, because it feels like we've experienced that quite a lot from our previous manager under David Moyes. He was just so stubborn with his selections. it sort of felt like regardless of how well players played, he would always go back to his first method. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it used to drive me mad. For instance, like you have Max Cornet, who, don't get me wrong, very disappointing sign for West Ham, no two ways about it. But there was that period, I think even last season, where he had a run of a couple of games where you could sort of see he was sort of building a bit of momentum. He got a goal and he just looked like he was doing okay. And then all of a sudden you just wouldn't see him again. You know what I mean? It was like he was pulled away from him and you're like, well, what was the point? You're trying to introduce this player into integrate him into playing with this team. He's then starting to see his confidence level go up slightly, and then you just take him away. And I worry that with Summerville, I don't want to see a pattern where, regardless of how well he plays, regardless of how good he does, you're always going to be on the bench. We've just had a manager that did that over and over again. I really don't want to see it. Let's be frank. We're talking about a player here that was Championship Player of the Season last year. I mean, that's no mean feat. That is a really impressive award to get. The Championship, all right, it's not the Premier League, but it's a bloody tough league. And for him to be crowned, the player of that league, I thought was pretty impressive. And he clearly has got something about him. And I just want to see more of him now. I think when we're going into games like we are against Chelsea, which, let's be honest, the pressure is starting to just slightly mount. I really don't want to jump this bandwagon and take he's under pressure. It really isn't. It doesn't mean he's under pressure to lose his job, but he's under pressure to get results now. Do you know what I mean? We're in the bottom half of the table. We want to get going. Chelsea's a great opportunity for us to turn that around. And I really want to see a bit more of a bold move from the manager. I want to see some bit of guts, a bit of bravery. And I just feel like with Summerville, you're getting that. You're getting those on the pitch. You're getting a player that's going to be like, go on, give me the ball. Let me go and make things happen for you. Tim Steidten, apparently challenged Summerville to become someone like Mohamed Kudus, who had such a big impact, obviously, last season. Obviously struggling a little bit at the moment, and because he's been played out on that left, as far as I'm concerned. But that's another story. But in terms of Summerville, West Ham have high hopes for him. They want to see him playing. They want to see him have this big impact at West Ham. I actually think he has the potential to do that. I really do. He's one of those players, I think if he's given game time, I think not only he's going to get assists, I think he's going to get goals. I just get this feeling that you're going to have a really special player on your hands. I keep starting him on the bench and bringing him on for half an hour or 20 minutes or even 45, whatever it is. I just don't see how it's good. I don't want him to be an impact sub player. I want to see him as a first choice player. These players deserve a chance. Like I say, I don't want to fall into a trap where players play well and they're not rewarded for it. So it's important. I think it's a really important decision for Lopetegui this weekend to get him playing. Also, as well, Summerville, don't forget, has already sort of expressed a bit of frustration, I think, at West Ham. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nothing bad. He hasn't sort of come out and said anything too much, but he did put up a post a few weeks ago where he'd been left on the bench. It was basically it was nodding towards his kind of religion in terms of, pray to God. It was something along the lines of, you basically about being patient. You needed to, patience. Eventually, it will happen for him. So he's already for me. That's already him expressing a bit of frustration, expressing maybe a little bit of concern that he's not being picked. And the last thing we need is for a player of that quality and who's just arrived at the club to feel like, what more can I do? Be patient. Because that's how I'd be feeling. If I'm not selected for this Chelsea game, if I'm Summerville, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. Like, what's going on here? If he starts Kudus out on the left again, which we just know isn't working, you're Summerville, you're going to be questioning things. We don't need all that kind of stuff early on in the season. I just feel like now he has done more than enough to start against Chelsea. It's a big game, Chelsea. And it's one that I want to see the club take advantage of. I want to see that bravery. I want to see that courage from the manager. I want to see him go, I'm going to play my best team to go and win this game. I don't want to see a conservative approach. We've had a bloody gutful of that. We've had a gutful of the conservative approach to games under David Moyes, too much, where we just gave the opposition far too much respect and we're just trying to hold on. I don't want to feel. I want us to be the concern for Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? I want them to think, Jesus, look at this lineup. We've got to deal with this. This is going to be a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? When I saw that Fulham lineup, I didn't feel that. I think Fulham might have rubbed their hands together, thinking, well, this is all right. We can handle this. Yeah, important, really important, and be interested to know what you think about it. Obviously, we've got I've just seen the Lopetegui press conference just happened just now. So we're going to be doing the Chelsea preview tomorrow. Obviously, I think you can guess I'll go Summerville in their team there, as long as he's fit, of course. From Lopetegui's words, it looks like we've got a pretty strong lineup to pick from, really, in terms of injury. It looks like Evian Emerson's going to be available, so that's quite good news. Well, very good news actually. So yeah, let's hope we get. Let's just really hope that our new head coach just has that push now. Do you know what I mean? It's really vital and important. He's got to get the fans on side here. He's got some big decisions to make this weekend, and for me, one of them has to be that Summerville starts against Chelsea.